The wedding died, not the people, not the memories, not even the love, at least not all of it, just the illusion. The flowers wilted before they were even thrown away. The music faded into silence. The guests went home with polite smiles and whispered theories. The photograph still sits somewhere in a drawer, proof that something beautiful once stood in front of witnesses. But what died that day wasn't love. It was the version of love we pretended was enough. Sometimes we don't lose each other because we stop loving. We lose each other because we stop being honest. The wedding died, but the truth survived. And truth, even when it hurts, is kinder than a lifetime of pretending. I've learned something about love. It's not loud, it doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't sparkle every day. Real love is quiet. It sits beside you when you're tired. It forgives slowly. It grows in ordinary moments. It asks you to show up not just when it's easy, but when it's inconvenient. A ceremony can unite two people, but only truth keeps them together. We thought commitment was a promise spoken once. We didn't understand it's a decision made every day. And when we stopped choosing each other, that's when the wedding began to die. Not in one dramatic explosion. Not in betrayal. Not in shouting. It died in silence. In the unspoken disappointments. In the small resentments that never found air. In the nights we lay beside each other but miles apart. And yet, even as the dream of what we thought marriage would be collapsed, something stronger remained. Truth. Truth that we had both changed. Truth that love isn't possession. Truth that respect cannot survive without honesty. Truth that loyalty isn't about staying at all costs, it's about staying real. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stop pretending, and that's where the real story begins. Love is not the rush people chase, and it is not the performance people applaud. It is not the wedding day, not the vows spoken under bright lights, not the applause when two people kiss and promise forever. Love is what happens when the lights go off, when the guests leave, when the flowers begin to wilt and life returns to its ordinary rhythm. Love is what remains when there is no audience. Commitment is not a sentence you repeat once. It is a quiet decision you renew when no one is watching. We grow up believing love is supposed to feel like constant certainty. But the truth is, love feels human. It feels uncertain sometimes, it feels vulnerable. It asks you to look at another person and say, I see you as you are, not as I imagined you to be. And that is where most weddings begin to fade, not because love disappears, but because fantasy does. We fall in love with the version of someone that fits our hope, and then we're surprised when reality introduces their fears, flaws, scars, habits, moods, and contradictions. But real love does not collapse when illusion breaks, it begins there. Commitment is not about never being tempted to leave. It is about understanding that staying requires effort, humility, and emotional courage. It is about learning that attraction may bring you together, but character keeps you there. You can adore someone and still fail them if you are unwilling to grow. Love does not ask you to be perfect, it asks you to be accountable. It asks you to listen when your pride wants to defend itself. It asks you to soften when your ego wants to win. Many relationships do not end because love ran out, they end because responsibility did. Because two people stopped protecting the bond with the same intensity they once used to pursue it. The truth about commitment is that it will expose you. It will show you how patient you really are. It will reveal how you react when disappointed. It will confront your childhood wounds and your unspoken expectations. It will teach you that loyalty is not proven in grand gestures but in consistent presence. Staying faithful is not only about the body, it is about guarding your energy, your attention, your emotional intimacy. You can betray someone long before you ever touch another person, through neglect, through indifference, through choosing distraction over connection. Commitment means choosing the person in front of you over the ego inside you. It means choosing conversation over silence, repair over resentment, truth over comfort. There will be days when you do not feel romantic. There will be seasons when life is heavy, when stress changes your tone, when exhaustion replaces excitement. That does not mean love is gone. It means love is being tested in its most honest form. Feelings are weather, commitment is climate. Weather changes. Climate is built over time. The wedding died because we believed weather was enough. We mistook intensity for stability. We thought passion would automatically carry us through conflict. But passion without discipline burns fast and disappears. Commitment is discipline. It is calling when you are tired. It is apologizing when you would rather justify. It is choosing transparency even when hiding would be easier. It is learning your partner's fears and guarding them instead of using them in arguments. The truth is, love matures or it dissolves. It cannot stay in its honeymoon phase forever. It must evolve from excitement into partnership. And partnership is not glamorous, it is practical. It is bills and responsibilities and difficult conversations about boundaries and dreams and disappointments. It is standing beside someone when they fail, not just when they succeed. It is allowing them to change without punishing them for not staying who they were when you met them. Growth can feel threatening in a relationship if you are insecure. But commitment celebrates growth. It says, become who you need to become and I will walk with you. That does not mean tolerating disrespect. It means understanding that two evolving individuals must continuously reintroduce themselves to each other. Many couples stop asking questions after the wedding. They assume they know each other. The people unfold over time. Trauma surfaces, ambitions shift, priorities realign. Commitment means staying curious. It means not letting familiarity turn into complacency. Love is not proven by how intensely you feel, it is proven by how consistently you show up. Showing up means being emotionally available, not just physically present. It means listening to understand instead of listening to respond. It means being strong enough to say, I was wrong. Pride destroys more marriages than incompatibility ever could. The need to be right can suffocate connection. Commitment requires humility, the courage to value peace over victory. When two people stop competing and start collaborating, love deepens. But collaboration requires trust, and trust is not built through words alone. It is built through reliability, through small promises kept, through predictable kindness, through steady respect. The truth about love is that it is simple but not easy. It is simple because it asks for honesty, loyalty, patience, and empathy. It is not easy because those qualities demand self-awareness. And self-awareness is uncomfortable. It forces you to confront your own triggers, your own insecurity, your own fear of abandonment or control. Many relationships fail because we expect our partner to heal wounds we refuse to acknowledge. We expect them to soothe trauma we have not faced. But commitment means taking responsibility for your own healing so you do not bleed on the person trying to love you. It means learning to regulate your emotions instead of weaponizing them. Love is not about avoiding conflict, it is about handling conflict with respect. Disagreements are inevitable, disrespect is optional. When anger replaces dignity, love begins to erode. Words spoken in frustration can leave scars deeper than silence. Commitment means guarding your partner's heart even when you are upset. It means remembering that you are on the same team. The wedding died when we forgot that. When we started arguing to win instead of arguing to understand. When we treated each other like opponents instead of partners. The truth survived because deep down we both knew love is not supposed to feel like war. It is supposed to feel like refuge. A place where vulnerability is safe. A place where mistakes are corrected, not condemned. A place where forgiveness is practiced, not postponed. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is strength controlled. It does not excuse betrayal, but it allows healing when remorse is real. Commitment is choosing to rebuild when rebuilding is possible. And sometimes commitment also means recognizing when staying would destroy both people. Not every ending is failure. Some endings are honesty arriving late. But when two people are willing, truly willing, commitment can transform even broken seasons. It requires daily effort, daily awareness, daily choice. You do not stay because it is convenient. You stay because you value what you are building. And what you are building is bigger than emotion. It is legacy. It is stability. It is shared growth. The truth about love is that it will cost you your ego. It will challenge your selfishness. It will ask you to give without keeping score. If you are counting who apologizes more, who sacrifices more, who loves more, you have already lost sight of unity. Love is not a transaction, it is a partnership built on mutual care. Commitment says, your well-being matters to me, and it proves that statement through action. When you protect someone's dignity in public, when you speak of them with respect in private, when you choose honesty even when lying would be easier, you are practicing real love. The wedding died because we thought the ceremony was the achievement. But the ceremony was only the beginning. Love is not secured in a single day. It is secured in thousands of ordinary moments where you decide to be kind instead of cruel, patient instead of reactive, present instead of distant. Commitment is not romantic every day. Some days it feels like work. But meaningful things require work. A garden does not bloom because you planted it once. It blooms because you water it consistently. Relationships are the same. Neglect them and they wither. Nurture them and they deepen. The truth about love is not dramatic. It is steady. It is waking up and choosing the same person even after seeing their flaws clearly. It is allowing them to see yours without fear. It is understanding that attraction may begin the story but respect sustains it. And respect grows from honesty. When two people are honest even about uncomfortable things, love has a chance to survive beyond fantasy. The wedding died because illusion cannot breathe in reality. But the truth survived because truth does not need decoration. It stands quietly. It waits patiently. And if two people are brave enough to face it, it can guide them back to something deeper than the ceremony ever promised. A love rooted not in appearance, not in performance, but in daily, deliberate, humble commitment. Healing does not arrive with noise. It does not knock loudly on your door and announce that everything will be fine. It comes quietly, often after something has already broken. After the wedding died, after the arguments settled into silence, after the disappointment stopped shouting and started whispering, that is where healing begins. Not in denial, not in blame, but in honesty. Because you cannot repair what you refuse to acknowledge, and you cannot forgive what you are unwilling to understand. The truth is, love between two imperfect people will always require healing. Not because love is weak, but because we are human. We carry old wounds into new promises. We bring childhood fears into adult relationships. We project past betrayals onto present conversations. And sometimes we hurt the person we love not because we intend to, but because we never learned how to handle our own pain. Healing begins when you take responsibility for that. When you stop saying, "This is just how I am," and start asking, "Why do I react this way?" Emotional maturity is not about never being triggered. It is about recognizing when you are, and choosing not to let that trigger control your behavior. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. It is not pretending nothing happened. It is not excusing disrespect. It is not lowering your standards to keep someone. Forgiveness is the decision to release the grip of resentment so it does not poison the future. But forgiveness must be built on accountability. Without accountability, forgiveness becomes self-abandonment. When someone truly understands the pain they caused, when they sit with it instead of defending themselves, when they say, "I hurt you," without adding "but you," that is where healing becomes possible. And healing is not a one-time conversation. It is a process. It is revisiting the wound gently, not to reopen it, but to ensure it is closing properly. Choosing someone daily means understanding that love is not sustained by feeling alone. There will be days when you feel distant, days when stress makes you impatient, days when doubt creeps in quietly and asks if this is enough. Choosing someone daily means you do not let those temporary emotions dictate permanent decisions. It means you lean into communication instead of withdrawal. It means you say, "I'm struggling today," instead of shutting down and expecting your partner to guess. Love cannot survive where silence replaces vulnerability. Many relationships fade not because the love ended, but because conversation did. Healing requires courage, the courage to speak your fear without accusing, to express your need without demanding, to admit your insecurity without masking it as anger. When two people learn to say, "I felt hurt," when always, they create space for understanding instead of defense. And understanding is the soil where forgiveness grows. The wedding died because we avoided difficult conversations until they became heavy. We postponed honesty until it felt dangerous. But healing demands transparency. It asks you to sit across from the person you love and say the thing you've been afraid to say, gently, respectfully, without attack. And then it asks you to listen. Not to respond, not to correct, but to truly hear. There is something powerful about being heard without interruption. It softens the heart, it lowers the walls. It reminds you that you are not alone in the struggle. Choosing someone daily also means choosing growth. People change, dreams evolve, personalities mature. Trauma surfaces at unexpected times. If you love someone, you must allow them to evolve without punishing them for no longer being who they were when you met. But that requires security. It requires trust that growth does not automatically mean distance. In fact, when nurtured properly, growth strengthens connection. Healing is learning that your partner is not your enemy. It is remembering that you both carry pain, and pain sometimes makes people defensive. But defensive is not the same as malicious. When you begin to see the fear beneath the reaction, compassion becomes easier, and compassion makes forgiveness possible. Forgiveness does not erase memory. It transforms it. It turns a painful chapter into a lesson rather than a weapon. Holding on to past mistakes as ammunition guarantees future distance, but acknowledging them as shared human failures creates intimacy. Real intimacy is not built on perfection. It is built on repair. The couples who last are not the ones who never fight. They are the ones who know how to come back together afterward. They understand that pride must bow to peace. That winning an argument is meaningless if you lose connection. Choosing someone daily is also choosing respect, especially during conflict. It means you do not insult their character when you are angry. You do not expose their vulnerabilities to score points. You protect their dignity even when you are disappointed. That is love in its most mature form, and healing deepens when safety is preserved. Emotional safety allows honesty to exist without fear. When someone knows they can admit weakness without being mocked, they begin to open fully. And openness is where closeness thrives. The truth is, resentment grows quietly when apologies are absent, when mistakes are minimized instead of owned. Healing requires humility. It requires the strength to say, "I need to do better," and it requires the grace to say, "I see your effort." Effort matters, small changes matter, consistency matters. You cannot demand healing overnight, but you can build it daily through repeated acts of sincerity. Choosing someone daily means remembering why you began, but not living in the past. It means appreciating the present version of them. The tired version, the stressed version, the uncertain version. Love that only exists when life is easy is fragile, but love that remains steady through hardship becomes unbreakable. There will be moments when walking away seems simpler, moments when distance feels safer than vulnerability. But commitment asks a deeper question: is this difficulty temporary, or is this connection fundamentally unsafe? If the foundation is built on respect and accountability, then most storms can be weathered. Healing is not linear. Some days you will feel progress, other days old feelings will resurface. That does not mean you are failing, it means you are human. What matters is the direction you are moving. Are you moving toward each other or away? Are you choosing curiosity over assumption? Are you choosing patience over impulse? Choosing someone daily is not dramatic. It is often invisible. It is sending a message when you're busy. It is checking in when you sense distance. It is saying thank you for small efforts. Gratitude keeps love alive. When appreciation disappears, relationships begin to feel transactional. But when you notice and acknowledge, connection deepens. Healing also means forgiving yourself. Many people carry guilt for how they showed up in the past. Shame can quietly sabotage present effort. But growth requires self-compassion. If you have learned, if you are trying, if you are showing up differently, allow yourself the grace to move forward. The wedding died because we thought love would sustain itself, but love requires maintenance. Healing is that maintenance. Forgiveness is that maintenance. Daily choice is that maintenance. And when two people commit to that practice, not perfectly, but sincerely, something stronger than ceremony emerges. A partnership grounded in reality, a bond refined by truth, a love that is not fragile because it has already survived difficulty. Choosing someone daily means saying, I know you are not perfect, neither am I, but I am here. I am willing, I am committed to becoming better with you, not against you. And when both people say that, not just with words, but with consistent action, healing transforms what was broken into something wiser. The wedding may have died, but if two hearts are willing to heal, the truth does more than survive. It rebuilds. Loyalty is not loud. It does not announce itself in public or demand recognition. It is quiet, steady, and consistent. It shows up when no one is watching. It protects what it values even in private. And in a relationship, loyalty is not just about staying, it is about how you stay. It is about the way you speak about your partner when they are not in the room. It is about the boundaries you keep with others. It is about the discipline of guarding the emotional space that belongs to the two of you. Many people think loyalty is proven by endurance alone, but endurance without respect is not loyalty. It is fear. Real loyalty is chosen freely. It comes from understanding the value of what you have and deciding not to risk it for temporary validation. The wedding died when loyalty became assumed instead of protected. When we stopped nurturing the bond because we believed it was permanent. But permanence is not guaranteed by vows. It is sustained by behavior. Respect is the foundation beneath loyalty. Without respect, love becomes unstable. You can feel affection for someone and still slowly erode their confidence if you dismiss their feelings, mock their dreams, or ignore their boundaries. Respect is not just politeness, it is consideration. It is pausing before you speak. It is remembering that the person beside you has a heart that can bruise just like yours. Emotional maturity means recognizing that your words carry weight, that your tone can either build or break. It means understanding that anger does not give you permission to be cruel. Maturity is not about suppressing emotion, it is about expressing it responsibly. There will be conflict in every relationship. There will be misunderstandings, disappointments, unmet expectations. But loyalty and respect determine how those conflicts unfold. Do you attack the person or address the issue? Do you bring up past mistakes to strengthen your argument, or do you stay present and focused on resolution? Emotional maturity chooses resolution. It values connection more than ego. It understands that winning an argument is meaningless if it costs you trust. Trust is fragile. It takes time to build and seconds to fracture. And once fractured, it requires consistent effort to restore. Loyalty is protecting that trust like something sacred. It means not entertaining attention that disrespects your partner. It means not sharing intimate details of your relationship with people who do not honor it. It means recognizing that emotional betrayal can be just as painful as physical betrayal. When you confide in someone else instead of your partner about matters that belong within your relationship, distance begins to grow. Loyalty pulls you back toward transparency. It says, if something feels wrong, address it at home first. Respect also means allowing individuality. Loyalty is not control. It does not isolate or restrict. It trusts. It supports independence while maintaining connection. Emotional maturity understands that two strong individuals can remain committed without suffocating each other. Insecurity demands ownership. Maturity practices partnership. The difference is subtle but powerful. Ownership says, you belong to me. Partnership says, we'll belong together. The tone shifts from possession to unity. The wedding died when insecurity replaced trust. When assumptions replaced conversations, when silence replaced reassurance. But loyalty rebuilds security through consistent action, through honesty even when the truth is uncomfortable, through transparency when secrecy would be easier. Emotional maturity also means knowing when to pause. Not every reaction needs immediate expression. Sometimes the strongest response is restraint, taking time to cool down, reflecting before responding, asking yourself whether your words will solve the issue or simply release your frustration. Mature love does not escalate tension unnecessarily. It de-escalates. It seeks peace without avoiding truth. There is strength in calmness, strength in speaking firmly without raising your voice, strength in walking away from a heated moment to prevent damage. Loyalty means you do not intentionally hurt the person you claim to love. You do not use their vulnerabilities against them. You do not threaten abandonment during arguments as leverage. Emotional maturity removes manipulation from love. It replaces it with stability. It says, even when we disagree, I am not your enemy. That reassurance is powerful. It allows conflict to exist without fear of collapse. Respect is also present in the small daily interactions. Saying thank you, acknowledging effort, listening fully when your partner speaks instead of scrolling through distractions. These small gestures communicate value. When someone feels valued, they feel safe, and safety deepens loyalty naturally. You do not have to force devotion when someone feels respected. It grows organically. Emotional maturity requires self-awareness. It requires asking hard questions about your own behavior. Are you consistent? Are you reliable? Do your actions align with your promises? Loyalty without consistency is empty. Words must be reinforced by behavior repeatedly. Over time, consistency becomes security, and security becomes peace. The truth is, love without maturity becomes chaotic. It swings between extremes, it thrives on drama and confusion. But mature love is steady. It may not always feel intense, but it feels safe. And safety is underrated. Safety allows vulnerability. Vulnerability allows intimacy. Intimacy allows connection to deepen beyond surface attraction. Loyalty protects the depth. It says, I choose you not because I have to, but because I want to honor what we are building. And building is the right word. Relationships are constructed over time, brick by brick, conversation by conversation, choice by choice. If one person stops contributing, the structure weakens. But when both remain committed to integrity, the foundation strengthens. Emotional maturity also means recognizing when boundaries are necessary. Respecting yourself is part of respecting the relationship. Loyalty does not mean tolerating repeated harm. It means holding standards with grace. It means saying, I care about us too much to let this continue. Boundaries protect love from erosion. They clarify expectations. They prevent resentment. And resentment left unchecked quietly dismantles connection. The wedding died because we underestimated how essential daily respect was. We assumed love would cover carelessness. But love cannot survive long without discipline. Discipline in speech, discipline in behavior, discipline in emotional reactions. Loyalty is not dramatic, it is patient, it stays consistent even when feelings fluctuate, and feelings will fluctuate. Attraction evolves, excitement softens, but respect, when maintained, sustains desire in a deeper way. Admiration grows when you see your partner handle life with integrity. When you witness their effort, when you feel their support. Emotional maturity turns love from fragile into resilient. It replaces impulsive reactions with thoughtful responses. It replaces suspicion with conversation. It replaces ego with empathy. And empathy is the heart of respect. When you genuinely try to understand how your actions affect your partner, your behavior changes naturally. You become more careful, more intentional, more kind. Loyalty then becomes less about restriction and more about devotion. Devotion to shared growth. Devotion to protecting what is meaningful. Devotion to showing up consistently. The truth survived because beneath the disappointment there was still a desire for something real. Something grounded. Something built on integrity instead of illusion. Loyalty, respect, and emotional maturity transform love from a temporary emotion into a lasting partnership. They require effort. They require awareness. They require courage to confront yourself before confronting your partner. But when both people commit to that level of growth, love stops feeling like a fragile dream and starts feeling like a steady home. And a home is not defined by decoration or ceremony. It is defined by safety, by trust, by mutual care. The wedding may have died. But if loyalty is protected, if respect is practiced daily, and if emotional maturity guides every interaction, then what remains is stronger than any ceremony ever could be. A love rooted not in fantasy but in truth.